All right. Good to see everybody. Super excited to have you all here. Let me mute everybody out. And as usual, you guys can unmute yourself if you would like to. But welcome to tonight's Power Hour. Super excited to have you all on. I am actually in Las Vegas right now for the Grant Cardone 10X. Let's see if I can get that over there. Uncle GC, got to hang out with him all day. It's been absolutely insane. Got to hang out with a billionaire. On top of that, hear some amazing stuff. There's so many things going through my head right now. It was absolutely incredible day, and we got 2 more to go. So pretty excited about that. But to kick tonight off, first thing I want to do is I want to invite somebody that has just been absolutely tearing this thing up. He has been blowing it up. His leadership skills are on full display with what he's got building. He is a servant leader and somebody that has been working very, very closely with, and got a couple things he wanted to share with everybody tonight. So I want to invite Mr. Jake Wernitznig, a Sapphire in Kiani, to be able to do a quick little segment, and then after that we'll take it back over. And I got a little special guest for y'all. So while Jake's getting ready to kick off, you make sure you reach out to everybody and tell them they probably want to go ahead and dial into this thing here because Jake's getting ready to lay it down, and then right after that I got somebody that's going to keep it going. So Mr. Wernitznig, can you hear me okay, sir?
Yes, sir. Absolutely, Mr. Salty.
Excellent. Hey, I'm going to mute everything out again because I got somebody that is unmuted somehow, and then I'm going to unmute you. And all right, sir, take it away.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Casey. I appreciate the nice introduction as always. That's always so exciting. I was a little bit nervous to jump on here tonight, but you start to realize that you have to get used to talking to people and get used to sharing a little bit about what you've learned over the past little while. So, guys, I'm really excited to be on here tonight with y'all. I definitely wish that I was out in Vegas with the rest of y'all, but that'll be next year for sure. So I'm not going to take up a lot of time. Like Casey said, reach out and let people know that we do have some special stuff going on tonight. And make sure you do that fast because I'm not going to take up a lot of time. But one of the things that I actually brought up with my organization not too long ago was the discussion of recruiting up and also, who we're really looking for in this business, because anybody can get started in this business, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we personally want everyone with us in this business. We want the right people doing this. And so when we talk about recruiting up, some of you have probably heard this before, and if you're brand new, you may not really be familiar with this, but we always think about everyone on a scale of 1 to 10, and not just when we're asking about, how their interest level is when they're evaluating the business and whatnot, but just as a person as a whole. And all of us are somewhere ourselves on that scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest type of person, 10 being the highest type of person, and not talking about whether you're good or bad or whatnot, but we want to always try and evaluate where we are ourselves on that scale of 1 to 10. And there's a couple different things that go into that. But when we talk about recruiting up, I think a huge factor has to do with our level of influence. And so if you really evaluate yourself and you think, well, maybe I'm a 7 out of 10 on the influence scale, obviously we want to keep bringing in people that are going to help us grow this business. So let's say, just for talking's sake, that you really feel that on a scale of 1 to 10, you're somewhere around a 7. Well, what a lot of us tend to do, and what I've done before in the past too, is we end up doing the easy thing. And obviously, if we're a 7 out of 10, the easy thing for us to do is find somebody that's a little bit lower. So a 7 is really easily going to go out and help bring a 6 or a 5 into this business, because that's the easy thing to do. It's a little more work for a 7 to go out and find an 8, a 9, or a 10 and bring that person into the business, because we don't have that level of influence. Now, it's not to say that it can't be done. It's just usually that person that's an 8 or a 9 or a 10 is what we also call on your chicken list. And because you don't feel like you've got the influence to reach out to somebody who's more successful, or maybe a little more driven, or maybe they've got that more that bigger level of influence than you, we don't feel like we can reach out to them, or we don't know exactly how to reach out to them. And that's a whole nother training. I'm not going to go into that, but definitely, if you don't already know about the indirect approach or even the super indirect approach, make sure that you figure that out, because that's how you're going to access those people that are a little bit higher on the scale than you are. And here's the picture that I want to paint for everybody real quick. Say that you're that 7 out of 10 and you do the easy thing. Instead of building up the courage and the skills to go out and reach out to those 9s, 8s, and 10s, you do what most people do, and you go and you reach out to the 4s, 5s, and 6s on the scale. Well, all of a sudden you're a 7, and you bring in somebody who's a 6. Well, guess what they're going to do? If you didn't teach them how to recruit up and go and find somebody higher, they're going to be a 6 in the scale, and they're going to do the easy thing as well. They're going to go out and they're going to get a 5. And then the 5 is going to start in this business, and it's just that domino effect. The 5 is going to get a 4, and then all of a sudden, when you're having your Zooms or when you're having your PBRs and people are showing up in this house, you've gone from being a 7 out of 10 on that scale, and instead of finding people that are the 8s, 9s, and 10s with those influential qualities, everybody in your team has all of a sudden recruited down, and now you've got somebody starting at your PBR, and they're holding up a sign that says, "We'll work for food." Like that's the domino effect. And so I just wanted to plant that into all y'all's heads real quick and make sure that we're all aware of it. Because if we're not all aware of that scale of 1 to 10 and that we should be trying actively to recruit up, then it's really easy for that to start to happen. And if you do see that starting to happen, that's okay, but make sure that you're taking the time to develop those people that are lower on the scale of influence. So take the time to develop those 5s into a 6 and develop those 6s into a 7, and take the time to develop yourself from a 7 up to an 8. So the big thing is don't do what's easy, do what matters, and develop the skills. If you don't have those skills yet to recruit up, make sure that you're developing them, and more importantly, or equally as important, make sure that your team is developing those skills too. Influence is a huge thing there, but I always look at people as a whip as well. And if you haven't seen Miles Stallard's training on whips, I believe it is on teamfusionfamily.com. I believe that should be one of the first trainings that everybody watches when they get started in this business, especially because Miles did it, and that's just very exciting all the way. But make sure that you're all aware of that. And, reach out to that chicken list. Learn the indirect approach and the super indirect approach if you don't already know it. Like I say, that's another training entirely. But that's all I really wanted to share. Recruiting up and figure out who your whips are, because that is an absolute huge thing. All right, Casey, I'm going to hand it back to you, sir.
Oh, thank you so much, Jake. That's just so well said. You are just so straight on. My guest is sitting here just like, man, he has just been crushing it. And I was like, it, absolutely, and deserves to get up in front of this audience and bring absolute value. So thank you so much for that. And you nailed it, man. Absolutely. Recruit up. We're sitting here at this conference. It's the first conference I've been to that hasn't been a network marketing conference where I'm not allowed to recruit. So this is like cherry picking right now. It is ridiculous. I mean, we're just sitting here like, we need to come to more of these. So, and we need to make sure we're all in different sections too. So it's been so much fun, but absolutely, recruit up, have those conversations with people where you chat with them and $50,000 a month to invest in something isn't going to be a big deal for them. Not saying money's everything, but I'm definitely telling you there's so many people out here that have so much money in this world, and those people like helping people. The key theme, the common theme, just to share with you guys a little bit on some of the things we've been hearing, is everything I wrote down, every single speaker, and what I get out of this is a whole different level of what a lot of people will get out of it, but every one of them, they talk about their background. They talk about where they came from. They're hungry. They didn't have anything growing up. I mean, hungry to the point where a billionaire, and he even said it, and it was so funny for hearing him say, he's like, look, if an idiot little boy from India can do what I've done, y'all should be crushing this thing, And it was, right between the eyeballs. It was so good. So, they're hungry, and then they just go out there and make it happen. That's what they do. So another gentleman that I want to introduce you to that absolutely gets out there, makes it happen, crushes it every single time is a guy that, I have the utmost respect for. I watched him from when I was deciding if I was even going to come on board with Kayani. He didn't know who I was. I was standing off to the side, and I was observing him and his wife and watching how they work with people, how they interacted with people, and it was so important to me to see the culture of the leadership that was already in place in Dallas, where I went up to see what was going on, and I was very, very impressed. Truly. And to watch how he is absolutely taken, he was already exploding and blowing it up, but since then his game has risen And I've been doing this for a while, and I recognize talent when I see it. And this guy doesn't need any introduction, but I'm going to give him one anyway. He is the top producing green diamond on planet Earth. He wears a millionaire little button right here, and you know damn sure he was wearing it today, and that caused a lot of people to ask a lot of questions. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you guys top producing green diamond, millionaire earner, real good friend of mine, Mr. Miles Stallard. I don't even have to say, are you there, Mr. Stallard? Because he's right here.
Yes. How much time do I got?
We get off when the battery runs out, man.
You get off when the battery runs out, man. I am excited. I'm so excited for all of you guys. Hello. Hi, Karen. I saw you wave. So, hello. Awesome. Everybody's waving. Gotcha. But yeah, man. This event has been absolutely amazing. And the coolest part about it, my favorite thing that I've gotten out of this entire event is kind of what Mr. Salge was just talking about, was just the fact that everybody here, we're talking about millionaires and billionaires, and not one of them has anything special about them that we don't have. And that's what I've seen more than there is one guy, that Indian guy. He thinks on a totally different level. I will tell you that. However, it's just about making it happen. And that's what this entire event has been about, is just getting out there, making it happen, and being non-negotiable with your dreams, what you want. And it's just so cool, man. I mean, this event, being here with Mr. Salge, and like he said, it's like cherry picking out here, because everybody wants more. Everybody's looking for opportunity and something that we have, nobody else will ever come across. We have literally the best opportunity on the face of this planet, and every single person here is going crazy for it. And I see my little baby down there.
That's awesome.
Stassi girl. Sorry, I'm excited. But one thing that I do want to talk about on this is just the stop beating around the bush. That's something I learned today. Mr. Grant Cardone was talking about just being straight to the point, showing people your intention. I know this is a training Zoom, so I just kind of want to be real with you guys. Don't make everything so much about trying to beat around the bush and trying to never beat around the bush. Let people know what your intention is. People want to know what your intention is. And if you give them your intention from the very beginning, it's going to be a whole lot easier to close the deal, to get people started with us, to run with them. And like Mr. Jake was saying, man, and by the way, Jake, shout out to you, man. Your success, especially the last few months, your leadership in what you are doing. And I was talking to Casey about it, man. It's very impressive, man. Like it's so cool to have watched you build this business, man. You're crushing it, man. But guys, make it happen. Be non-negotiable. Be aggressive. Show your intent. Let people know what you're there to do. And more importantly, another thing that every single person up here today talked about was stop making it about yourself. Make it about them. Make it about other people. And I really learned that a lot today. That's something that I really picked up today was whenever you make it about other people, success will chase you. You don't have to chase success. And don't chase this business. Don't chase success out of this business. People will come to you if you make it about them. Make your culture in your environment within your business. Make people want to be part of what you're doing. Too many people are trying to sell people on Kyani and on these products and on the business. You don't have to sell them. All you got to do is make them see what you've got and have them fall in love with the idea of running with you. And, man, I'm kind of like all over the place. I know it's been a long day, but I learned a lot. I learned a whole lot. I don't have my notes in front of me. But, man, I just want you guys to know that I love you guys, and this opportunity that we have right now, I'm telling you, it's the best opportunity on the face of this planet. But we got to go out there and we got to make it happen, because it does not matter how amazing our products are, how amazing our compensation plan is, how amazing our culture is, how amazing, our system is. It does not matter if we don't do anything about it, So something I want you to do, a little call to action is and I talked about it, and they talked about it today actually, was a list. What are 5 things that you have to do every single day to be moving forward into your business? Name 5 things that if you do them, you're going to be taking a step forward in your business, and get those done every single day. Be consistent, be persistent, be aggressive, and make it happen. 5 things, and I'm telling you, you'll have success. And it was so crazy because whenever they were talking about daily goals. You know, they're talking about doing your to-do list, your daily goals list, your top 5, making sure you accomplish those top 5, getting up and brushing your teeth,
Yes.
you know, making your bed, those small things that you guys hear me talk about all the time. It was so funny because the guy next to me, so they're going over all this stuff, and I'm just sitting there like with my notepad. I'm like, see this? Yeah. You see this? Yeah, I got it. Yeah, right. And it was just those small things, guys. The small things are what's going to bring you everything that you want out of this business, but you've got to do them. You've got to do them. Don't treat them lightly, because the smallest things are the biggest things. Personal development, your meditation, your prayer. I don't know, you know, your religion or your faith, but I can tell you that if I don't do that, I have a bad day. If I don't work out, I have a bad day. That's something that they talked about a lot today, was your health and your activity. Work out, personal development, prayer, and communication with your team, and getting those things done that you know that you need to get done to take a step forward. And don't be a wimp about it. Get out of your comfort zone. Chase being uncomfortable. That's another thing that I took a lot out of today, and you guys hear me talk about, is getting out of your comfort zone, because something that I believe it was Ed Milet, man, unbelievable. One of the best speakers I've ever heard in my entire life. By the way, follow him. Look him up as Ed, Mylett.
Yep.
Ed Milet, absolutely amazing individual. You guys will learn a lot from him. But something that he said was, what was I just talking about? I guess I lost my comfort zone. Get out of your comfort zone. You know, chase being uncomfortable. Everybody wants to be successful so that they can go sit on the beach and be comfortable, but that's not what being successful is all about. Being successful is about being uncomfortable. You'll never be successful and be comfortable. So if that's what you're chasing, you have the wrong idea what success is. Look to be uncomfortable, and you will make your dreams come true, your family's dreams come true. And one more time, and I'll say it again, and I'll give it back to Mr. Salji, is, guys, understand that what we have. I know there's a lot of new business partners on here. You know, a lot of people that are new to Kyani. But what I will tell you is we have something that is so beautiful, guys. We have something to where not only can you be successful, but your entire family can be successful. And not just money-wise, but health-wise, being a part of an environment that is life-changing, personal development, skills. I know most of the people that are on this right now can back me on this, but this business has changed all of our lives in a huge way. So if you're new to this, you know, just know that we have the most incredible thing in the world, but you got to be consistent, you got to be persistent, and you got to care more about others than you do yourself, and your success will come no matter what. This compensation plan, this business, Kyani, it favors time no matter what. So get aggressive, recruit up, like Jake was saying, and care about other people. So, Mr. Casey Salji, I'll hand it back to you, man. Thank you guys
so much. Wow. Way cool. We got some comments on here. Let's see what we've got. All right. 5-second rule. Be there next year. Absolutely. Heidi said, hi, honey. Just to let you know in the comments. All right. Those cherries have to go somewhere. Absolutely. Awesome. All right. Very good. Well, like we do every week, I want to open this up for questions. I want you guys to have some questions, and I'll be happy to take a shot. And while I've got access to this amazing gentleman, I might ask him to weigh in also. So now is your time to ask some questions on anything that you all have been working on. I know we've got a lot of new folks on here. Welcome to the team. A lot of names that I don't recognize yet, which I absolutely love. We got 2 pages on here. Let me make it over to the next one. Wonderful. We got a lot of folks on here, but let's open up for questions. If you have a question, go ahead and unmute yourself, or let's see here. Can you define the difference between hot market, warm market, and cold market? Absolutely. So everybody that Mr. Stallard and I have been talking to today have been our cold market. These are people that we do not know. We do not know anything about them. We got to ask their name. We haven't seen them around. These are absolute ice cold. There's no warmth from a relationship perspective yet. So what do? We sit down next to a guy who happens to be from Chicago and actually from Ireland to begin with. And we start asking him, hey, how you doing? My name's Casey. Nice to meet you. Where are you from? And that's how we start the conversation. Guess what? He stuck with me for 3 days because we have assigned seating. All right. So poor fella doesn't know what hit him. That's cold market. That's how we start. And what do? You do what we always talk about. So I'm going to weave in some training on the basics of what we do every single time. If I shake you out of bed at 3 a.m. and I ask you, what do we do? The first thing that you do is you got to build rapport with people. The second thing you do is you got to pique their interest. The next thing you do is edify the proof, somebody other than you, and pass the ball. It doesn't matter if it's hot market, warm market, cold market. That's what we do. So that was cold market. And that's what I did. Now, the definition between cold market and warm market, somebody that you at least know who they are. You have recognition of them. These are people that are, if you work in an office building and there's, 9 floors, then they might be somewhere above floor 3 because they keep going up when you get off the elevator and you haven't said anything to them. So that's maybe a warm market, okay? Or maybe you know their name and you see him, and that's Bob from accounting, and you see him every once in a while, and maybe run into him at the canteen down below, and those types of things. You don't know when his birthday is, you don't know what his life's goals are, you don't know much about him, you just know him. And so it wouldn't be weird if you said hi. They wouldn't look at you and size you up. They just like, hey, good to see you. Now, warm market, that's warm market. Hot market is people that you know well. Okay, these are the people that you see all the time. These are your friends. These are the people that if somebody's sick, they call you to see how everybody's doing. These are the people that you see at church all the time. These are the people that you go play golf with or softball with. Those types of people. So those are the hot market. Now, the only difference between those is that this job, this business that we do, is easier. Those 3 steps, those are easier when it's somebody that you know really, really well. You don't have to build as much rapport. The rapport step is pretty much already there. You actually know what they're interested in. When you're trying to pique their interest on whether, and we talk about this all the time, we want to pique their interest, find out if they're interested in health, in wealth, in beauty, or in time. Based on that question right there, you can find out what somebody's interests are, and then you pique their interest on the things that they're interested in. That was something that was also spoke about quite a bit today, is have awareness. And what's funny is this thing is, it's really into some hardcore sales stuff. What we do is not sales. But if you want to get technical, every time you talk to somebody, you're selling them. You're selling them on yourself, those types of things. But for what we do, we're not in sales. We're not doing what these guys are doing. These guys got a hard job to do. They got to go through a whole bunch of other stuff. We don't do that. We got 3 steps. We build rapport. That's real easy. You've been doing that since you were in kindergarten. I talk about it all the time. And now, just like they mentioned the other day on our chat channel, when they go into the grocery store and they see the sushi lady, they think of me. Now, if you see yellow dump trucks, you're going to think of me too, because that's how we built rapport when we were in kindergarten. Oh, you like little yellow dump trucks? I like little yellow dump trucks. We're friends now. So we build rapport. It's just you don't have to build so much of it when it's in your hot market or in your warm market. So hopefully that answers your question, Sarah. All right. Perfect. Something that I also want to mention is notice, I want to say this without sounding cocky, so I'm just going to say it as I mean it. We came to Vegas. That's not cheap. We're staying at the hotel, and it's not cheap. We went to the event. It is not cheap. The cheapest tickets, what was the cheapest ticket? $1,000? $800? Something like that? So, yeah, they go up to $15,000 for a seat at this little event. All right. So, ILA right now, if you just joined, is $99. All right. So, I want everybody to know that the events, the personal development, everything that everybody said all boiled down at this event to make sure personal development is one of the 5 critical things you do every day. Mr. Stallard was talking about that. I wrote that same note down, and I looked over at my 10X. And did I bring it? You damn Skippy, I brought it. And in there's a little section. It's called targets for the day. Those targets, if you don't hit those targets, the day's not done. It ain't time to go to sleep yet. You get those done. Now, that's not a wish list. That's not a one-day list, someday list. That's you get those 5 things done, or you got to put a loss on the day. You put those 5 things down and you put a scratch mark through them. You put a win for the day. Mr. Spencer Wynn actually spoke about this at Diamond University in Dallas. And the guy he got it from, guess what? We saw him in person today. So my point to all of this is sharpen the saw. We didn't get this way. We don't get up on stage and speak the way we speak. We don't get in front of, 30-something, 40-something people and do what we do because we came out of the womb doing this. The way we got here is we sucked really freaking bad when we started. And then we didn't quit, and we learned. That's the biggest thing. You will be the same person you are today, 5 years from now, except for the books you read, the people you meet, and the seminars you attend. Otherwise, it's going to look just like the last 5, and the next 5, and the next 5, and the next 5. So make sure the personal development's being done. That's why we came to this event. This is not a network marketing event. We sat down with a guy for dinner, and he was like, well, why are y'all at this thing? I was like, okay, this guy doesn't get it. We both shut down in the conversation. It was a clinic we were putting on too. It was pretty funny. You got Mr. Stallard, you got me sitting there. This guy is like, he didn't know what the hell happened to him. It's like, if we went to play poker, it's like, it was terrible. But when that happened, we didn't even have to look each other. And we talked about it on the way back here. We both had the same thought of, it's not there yet. Not a bad thing about the guy. He just hasn't sharpened the saw yet. Hey, he's here. He's learning. I hope some of this stuff sinks in. But that's the only difference maker between what we've accomplished and where we came from, is sharpening the saw. So I'm appealing to you. Make sure, if there's only one thing you do this year to sharpen the saw, make sure it's go to ILA. Okay? If you come up with some reason why you can't go, come up with a reason to overcome that. Figure out what your why is. That goes back to step A and B. We talk about that. A and B is semi-static, your why and your list. And then after that, we do the 3 steps where I shake you out of bed each night. But the first one, figure out your why. That's the one that will make it happen. That's the one that will make you make the decision that you're going to make it to the event. That's the one where you decide that it might be time for a career change if somebody's telling me that I can't go sharpen the saw and I need to come into the office because everybody else isn't going to be there. Hey, guess what? I own my own business too. Guess what? We say all kinds of stuff. Doesn't necessarily mean we mean it. We just don't want to go in and cover your shift. That's why we say we're going to fire you if you don't show up. So roll the dice, see what happens. Maybe you get fired. That's cool. You probably didn't like that job anyway. I don't say that lightly. I don't say that flippantly. Casey, well, you've been doing this for a long time. You've been successful in this space and everything else, so you can afford to go to it. Guess how I got here? I got here by going to these things when I couldn't afford it. That's how I could get to a point where I could afford it. So you got to pay the price. There's always a price. You just got to make sure you pay it. Now, the other thing is, if that why is not big enough, then you will stay in that box of mediocrity. The thing that we fight, the thing that people say, y'all have heard some rumblings of this little secret special forces group I've got called shooters. What makes them shooters? What are they shooting? What's their enemy? Mediocrity. If you're tired of living in a box of mediocrity, guess who's going to get you out of that box? Not me. I'm going to give you all the tools. I'm going to drop in some food underneath the door every once in a while to make sure you're still strong and ready to go. But you got to break out of that one. I cannot open the box from the outside. That's just all there is to it. The really sick part, this one's going to hurt a little bit, is you walked into the box. Shut the door behind you. So all you got to do here's the good part of the story. All you got to do is turn the knob and walk out of it. It is 100% up to you guys. So I commend you guys for being on this call. I commend you from continuing to sit on here and listen to me ramble. So you got to be getting either you're a glutton for punishment or you're getting a little something out of this. I hope it's the latter. But keep doing that. Make sure you get to the best of the information. That's what allows you to break through that door and just full steam ahead and never look back. The people that tell you, when you're talking with people, the intent, there's nothing that we've said here tonight that changes what we do. It's the mindset of what you do when you're going in. When you go in, I wrote this one down too, and I'm not even looking at my written notes. It just made that big of an impact on me. Is that the objections that y'all run into, not saying all of them, but I want you to try this on and see if this fits. The objections that you run into in this business are objections that you still have in your head. You are manifesting these objections into the people that you are with. People come into this thing and say, it's too expensive. I'm going to have people sign up at the $89 package because they can't afford it. Who the hell are you to say that that's what they can afford or what they can't afford? Honestly, I hope this doesn't hurt your feelings, but if it does, I'm okay with it. You need to explain to them why. I have not one single time, and I'm not saying this is a fact. I'm saying it's a fact from my observations, though. Not once has somebody that's come in at an $89 level done anything of significance in this business or any other business. They've got to have skin in the game. If you let them off the hook at $89, say, oh, well, what's this $89 package? Here's what I tell them. I said, that package doesn't exist. That's nothing. You don't get anything for that. Well, Casey, I can get a spot and this, that, and the other. I said, you might as well save you $89. You are absolutely throwing that down the trash, in my opinion. That's my opinion. And I've always told y'all I'm going to be open and honest and real with y'all. That is my opinion. Now, getting that spot was that well, we're getting 2 spots for this and that. All you're doing is working harder. You're working a whole lot harder. Well, you don't have the money. Look, we've talked about this ad nauseum. $400. I get it. There are people, I've been poor. I have been very, very poor. It is not about resources. The objection, the point of this little conversation is that the objection is that you don't see the worth of the other positions, or you would not allow them to come in. If you're sponsoring somebody and you're letting them come in, now, has people come in and found a website and signed up for $89 and they never talked to you? Yes, I get it. But get my point on what I'm trying to make here. Don't allow those objections in your head to transform into the objections that they're having. There's some people who come up and say, do you run into this objection? No, I can't say that I do. Why is that? Because my intent when I'm sitting with somebody is crystal clear. Y'all know what my mission is. What's your mission? If it's the same mission, I'm cool with that. But do you have a mission? Do you know what your intent is for doing this business? If you feel that the intent of this is to get somebody's money, then you got the wrong mission. What will help that? Coming to these events, coming to these seminars that you and I are on right now together, going to ILA, getting yourself plugged in. When you find out that the mission is about helping the other guy, one of the great things that I saw is that you got some people that are, they're making some money. They are balling out of control. When they decide where they want to park their jet so that they get the maximum amount of viewing time for their brand on the tail wing, that's when you know that they've done pretty good. But what's really interesting about everybody, not everybody that spoke, but everybody that I took notes on and respected, wasn't in it for themselves. Was there a time that they were at the? Absolutely. When did their business take off? When it wasn't about them. That's the mission. So when you're building rapport, when you're piquing interest, when you're edifying the leader, what are you doing it for? So that you can get another person into the game with you, into this fight that we're in, picking sides. The cemetery is littered with broken dreams that were never realized because no action was taken, because there was no mission in their head. They drifted. So figure out what your mission is. Make sure that you, in your head, know what the goal is when I open my mouth to Brendan Faherty from Ireland and Chicago, I had it in my head. The words in my head are, oh, this kid is so absolutely joining me in this business. That's how I approach it. Then it's just a matter of how long is it going to take him to see the light and understand that resistance is futile. You have been placed in my presence for a reason. I'm pretty sure I know what it is. We could be wrong, but we're going to find out. That's how I operate. I am going to bend the universe to my will as much as I possibly can. Every chance I can, I am going to bend it. I am not going to wait for it to happen. I am going to, what did that gentleman just say to my right here? He said, go make it happen. That's what he means. Go make it happen. You have to have an intent on what you want to achieve. That is my intent. I want an army of people helping me in this fight. And Mr. Naveen, holy crap, it was me, Spencer, Spencer Wynn, Miles Stallard, Sarah Ho, Sonia. We're all in here just sitting each other. I mean, it was ridiculous. We're in all different parts of the arena, and we're like, "Did you just hear what that dude said? Holy crap!" Oh, it was nuts. It was nuts. And he's in here, and he goes into this dissertation. His moonshot's what he calls it. And I'm going to share with some of this with y'all because it was so damn good. This dude's got a company that was worth $30 billion. He used to work $35 billion. He used to work for Bill Gates, got tired of making him billions, and decided to go do it himself. His words, not mine. This kid, he's not a kid now, but when he grew up, and he talked about his upbringing in India, and he's the one that called himself, this little idiot, brown-skinned kid from India. He said, my education was we drew on the dirt. That's how we were able to do our stuff. We didn't have paper. We didn't have any of that stuff. And he talks about what he did and how he came over here. $5, didn't speak the language. Sitting on stage, $35 billion company, and that's just one of them. And here's what his goals are. He's the only guy on the planet that has approval to land on the moon. So he's got that going for him, which is kind of cool. Why is he going to do that? Because he is going to be able to mine moon rocks. That's one thing. And then you got to hear his pitch. It was really good. He's talking about, look, you get diamonds, and that was just a really good sales pitch that somebody did by De Beers back in the 1950s, because diamonds aren't really all that rare if you look at it on a macro level, but they did a good job. But, it's one thing to say, oh, you went to whatever and got me a diamond. That's so good. Yeah, but why didn't you go to the moon if you really love them? I was like, oh, dude, that's good. He said, yeah, we went to Hawaii for the honey, it's called a honeymoon. Why don't we go to the moon? It's like, dude, next level, right? He said, now that was just for fun. Here's what I'm actually going to the moon for. Helium-3. Can't get that anywhere else. So it's abundant on the moon. What do you do with helium-3? You do fusion, cold fusion with it. He said, but there's no reactors for that. He said, yeah, but guess what's going to happen? Somebody in the next 5 to 10 years is going to get that thing nailed down, and they're going to have a fusion reactor. And when they do that, what are they going to need? Helium-3. Where are they going to get from? This guy. That's how that guy thinks. I was like, okay, that's next level. Hurting my head, making me think about things a whole lot differently. Then he moves on to what's he want to do for his giving back. He's actually started a company 4 months ago, 6 months ago, whatever. And it's called Viome, V-I-O-M-E. What they do is they go in and they are able to diagnose using some pretty high-tech technology that he got out of Los Alamos to be able to truly figure out what's wrong with every human being, down to the core of it. And they're able to do it for like $399 or something. It was insane what he's talking about. So I got to go do some research and see all this. But anyway, the point of the story is he starts talking about, he gives a dissertation on all the disease that the world is dealing with. And he starts talking about, he says, we're so used to this being the thing that drives the body. He said, and it was a really weird thing, and I'm not going to do it justice, but he basically goes and say, what if there's a bunch of organisms like viruses and bacteria and things like that get together and they decide that they need something to be able to get around the world and have world domination? How do they do that? They've been around a lot longer than we have, if you look at it from an evolutionary perspective. We've only been around for, 100,000 years. And if you look at them, they've been around for, a couple million, maybe even a billion years. So they're, kind of stuck in one little spot, not really able to get around the world and everything. So what do? Well, let's get ourselves, what if we could get something that walks around, feeds us all the time, and then helps us populate the world? Like, I don't know, a human being. He said there is more alien matter in us than there is human DNA. If you look at all the stuff that's in us, all the bugs that are in us that make us do what we do, we need them. It's not like we want to get rid of them all. It's just what we're made up of. But it ain't made up of human. It's made up of bacteria and made up of viruses and all this other type of stuff. So he's talking about these bacteria. He says, what about, there's good bacteria, right? That's the stuff that's in your gut that does what it needs to do. That's why you have probiotics and things like that. He said, what if you looked and saw that there was a way that maybe you're hungry? What happens then? Who tells you that you're hungry? Does your brain? No. Your stomach tells your brain that it's hungry. Your stomach is the brain. The brain is the puppet. The gut is the brain. He said, like, what was it, 95, 99% of all issues are all from what we eat. I'm like, huh, holy shit. Guess what we're in? We're in a health and wellness company. How cool is this? What does our stuff do? Look at Wellness Simplified. Look at all the things that this is helping. And it freaks everybody out. He starts talking about depression and how if you eat the right foods, you're not going to have depression. Huh. I will find a way to get in touch with this man. Mark my words. So anyway, this is a billionaire talking about this type of stuff and looking at it from that perspective. When a billionaire starts talking about that sort of thing, I want you guys to know where you are sitting in this place and time. And that's what Mr. Stallard was also mentioning a second ago. Where you're at, we're sitting there talking to the guy at the dinner table. Never heard of Kyani. Told him it was in 67 countries. His jaw hit the floor. He didn't even know how many countries are in the world. He said like 324. I was like, okay, dude, whatever. The timing that you're at, the things that we do, can this get overwhelming at times? 100%. What do we do when I shake you out of bed at 3 a.m, say it's time, what is your mission? Tell me your mission first. Tell me your why. Show me your list. And then go build rapport. Pique their interest on the things that they want. Edify your proof, your leader, and pass the damn ball. That's what we do. That's that simple. If you will get good at that, you will make it to Jade. When you make it to Jade, you've got 2,000 points in your organization. Do you have to keep getting 3 people every single month? No. 2 things can happen. You can help those 3 people go get somewhere between 5 and 10 customers. And depending on what it is that they're ordering, you will have 500 points locked in for every one of those customers. If you come in as a distributor at the medium pack and have 500 points, and you bring 3 people in, you're going to have 2,000 points. That's what your first mission is to get that done. And after that, your next mission is to make sure that you come up with 5 customers. When you do that, that amount is locked in. That is the core formation of the organization that you are a part of. If you were a part of a military organization, you would know what it takes to be able to go from staff sergeant to, an E1 to an E7 to an E8 and on up the food chain. And then after that, what do I got to do to be a lieutenant? What do I got to be to be a captain? All those different types of things. You'd figure all that out. If you're in the fire department, you're going to be a firefighter. And then after that, you're going to be able to be a driver. And then after that, you'll be a lieutenant, and then a captain, and then a chief, and so on and so forth. Whatever organization you're in, there is a order on how that goes. But there's always a basic unit. Our basic unit is Jade. Help 3 people get started in this business. Help them establish that so that you are locked in at Jade on the first of every month after that. How do you do that? Have those same, they're not going to come in and order another 500 points worth of a box. They're going to go get 5 customers at 100 points a piece for the auto ship on Prime of the plus packs. Make that happen. There's 500 points just like that, or 10, and get it at 50, somewhere in between there. And if you do that well, guess what? You get up to 750 points, you're going to get a $100 bonus every month for doing that too, on top of everything else. So that's all there is for the basic foundational unit of what we do. Now, once you do that, help those 3 people. What are we going to do with those 3 people? Do they know 3 people? Yes. How do we find them? We ask those 3 people, what is their why? We ask them if they have a list of somewhere about 20 people. What do we do with those 20 people? We show them, we don't tell them, we show them how to reach out and build rapport with those 20 people. Do they already know those 20? Yes, they do. They're their warm or hot market. What do we say to them? Hey, how you been? I'm Casey. Where are you from? That's if it's cold market. Have that chat with them. Build rapport. When you're talking to them, they're going to tell you what their issue is. If they don't, then get to it and say, hey, let me ask you a question. If you had to pick between these 4 things, which one would you pick? Health, wealth, money, or time? I'll pick all 4. Fantastic. Your intent when you start that conversation is you are going to have a new business partner, or you are going to have a new customer, or you're going to have a new friend. One of those 3 things are going to happen. After we help them do that, what are we going to do? We're going to show them when they decide that health or beauty is the thing that they want. We're going to show them how to do that too. And we're going to get 5 to 10 customers, and then we're done with that person too. Now, can you go get more than that? Yes. Can you get more business partners than that? Yes. But that's the building unit. If you do all of that, If you bring in 3 people and then you help those 3 people do that, what are you going to happen to you? You're going to be a pearl. That's what we do. You brought in 3, you made each of them jade, you're going to be a pearl. Did you do anything else? No. You did the same basic unit, the same basic formation. It's the same thing over and again. We are complicating our business. You're making the time from when you have an idea to the time that you execute it very, 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 very long. Some of y'all, it goes off the screen and you can't see my hands anymore. Or around the house, down the neighborhood. Or you can sit down and say, hey, my name's Casey. What's your name? Brandon Flaherty. Nice to meet you. I think I might want you in my business. A lot of difference, right? Still same stuff, still doing the same thing, just coming with intent. So like I always say, this business is super simple. So is golf. It's just not easy. Why? Because this thing's screwing with you. So you got to beat that up. You got to tell it to quiet down. And the way you get it to quiet down is that your intent is to help people. When your intent is to help people, you get out of your own way. We're giving you the tools to be able to break out of that door, run out of it, that little box of mediocrity that you're living in right now, that you're frustrated with, that you want to break loose on. Who here is absolutely, completely pleased with everything that's going on in their life right now? Raise your hand. Cool. Didn't see any hands go up. I promise you, helping others is going to help whatever you're dealing with. Because when you do that, the significance is going to go through the roof. That's the thing that everybody shared on stage. It's about the significance. There's people up there that have been looking for that for a long time. They worked their butts off to be able to figure that out. I'm letting y'all know that what you've got your hands on is the fastest, quickest way of everything that I've heard this weekend. Because guess what? If there's a faster way, guess what I'm going to be doing? I'm going to be doing that. I'm doing this. I'm pouring into you guys after walking out of that. This is where it's at. This is what allows you to go out and go do deals in real estate. When you got to figure a way to launder your own money. It's a cool thing. That's how much money you can make in this thing, that you got to launder it. Okay? All right. We're wrapping it up here. Let's see if we got any last questions. The 10X that I held up is a planner. It is a daily planner, and I swear by it. On the left-hand side, it's got the times of the day. It's got about 6 sections. That's where if I write it in there, it's going to happen. If I don't write it in there, imagine this. My day gets away from me, and I don't actually take action on those things. But when I write it in there, I have to have them done. Also in there, I write my goals twice a day. Whatever you write down comes about. Go get that. Can you make your own? Yeah, but it just looks cool in that little binder. So go get that one. Get you a stack of 5 of them. I think you get 60 or 90 days in it. And I mean, I don't go anywhere without it. The 2 things I brought was the laptop that we're on right now and my 10X planner. That's what I took in. All right, what other questions do we got? I haven't heard from anybody. Come on, somebody unmute themselves. Ask me a question. I know you got one. You got a green diamond sitting right here. It could probably explain to you whatever your question is. I bet he's got an answer. What y'all got? As Uncle G says, step up. It's going to be weird looking at each other for 12 more minutes without saying anything.
All right, how's it going, Casey?
Going good. Colton's my man. Last week, he asked me like 8. He said, can I keep asking questions? I said, yeah, until somebody else interrupts you. What you got, Colton?
Well, I just want to thank you, first of all, for all your time here. And you got a good energy going. I like it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So what I'm going to ask you, I did a public speaking, I did a speech today. I'm just curious, do you have any tips for a successful speech?
Yeah, absolutely. What you did today is the first tip. Just go do it. What was your speech about?
It was on personal development. It was all on controlling emotion and being aware of that.
Yeah. Excellent. How long of a speech was it?
How long? Half an hour.
Nice work.
Just something to get everyone into it.
Yeah, that's excellent. How big of a crowd?
Oh, pretty big crowd. We had about five, 6 people.
That's a hard. I'm telling you, that's a harder room than 5,000.
I don't know, but it was good. Good experience. It's getting out of the comfort zone, right?
Yes, that's it right there. And Mr. Stallard nailed it, man. Just constantly put yourself in danger. Not physical danger. There's very few things that are actually going to kill you, but just get yourself into that perception of that danger, and that will cause you to move. But let's see, tips that I've had for public speaking. Definitely the old fun, imagine everybody in their underwear. That helps from time to times if you're freaking out. So that's for the nerves. The thing that, and I get nervous. I still get nervous going on stage. I don't care, what it is I'm doing. That lets me know that it's important. But what I think about before I go up is I've got something that they need to hear. And it doesn't mean it's got to be profound and something that no one's ever heard before. I could simply be up there to say it in such a way that not only first it reminds them, because chances are you've probably heard all of the stuff that we talk about before. It just reminds you of it. It brings it to the front burner on the stove. So always go up there knowing that you've got something that you're going to bring value with them. And do that, a day or two before you go up there so that you feel confident that what you're getting ready to say is going to be something that they're going to be able to use. There was one speaker, and he wasn't one of the good speakers today, and he was like, what do I say to a group of 10,000? And I honestly don't know that he exactly had it clear in his mind what he was going to do. And he rambled. He rambled terribly when he was up there for he was all over the place, and it was just like, good Lord. I'm questioning if I'm going to sit here through it or if I'm going to go to the restroom. It was to that level. But the next guy that came up, they would have to drag me out of there if there was a fire alarm. I wasn't leaving. That dude he was prepared. He had what he needed. So be prepared and make sure you've got something that that's going to bring value. When you know that, you're going to come out with confidence. People want to see that too. They don't want you to be out there meek. You don't have to be cocky, but you got to be confident. So that's another thing. Make sure you got the confidence on what you're talking about. Doesn't mean you need to be the best in the world about it. You just need to know that what you know is something that you know, and share that. Audience participation is kicking it up a notch when you can get to that point where you're not just trying to remember what your slides are, and remember that key point that you wanted to make on slide 13. When you got to that point, then you can start getting the engagement. One of the reasons that people say that I'm a good speaker is that I make jokes. I don't make jokes to the point where I'm missing out on the point that I'm trying to make, but I am trying to lighten the mood, and I'm trying to have a connection with people, and laughter is a very powerful way to be able to do that. See what else. Another one is preparation. One thing, yes, I've got good content. Then do you have the nuts and bolts on being able to deliver that content? Doing the presentation and what we do is something that a lot of people are afraid to do. It's reading. It's reading out loud. That's really all it is. And the best way to get over it, when my first couple presentations, I was a mess. I am perspiring. It wasn't good. Dave got up there one time, forgot his own damn name. I saw that happen. I was there for that one. It was, he said, hi, my name's, and there was a pause. So nervousness is going to be there, but preparation will help that. So what do? You drive down the road, going to work, whatever it is you're doing, get in front of a mirror, and you recite that thing until you can do it in your sleep. That's when you know you're ready. If it's a one-time presentation, then you might not go to that level. But for our presentation on what we do, if y'all want to have a big bump in what you do, show the presentation more often for your people. And to do that, you got to be able to present it. And I'd love Mr. Stallard to come up and talk about his first presentation that Mr. Nieves put him in front of. You mind sharing that with the come on over, brother. This is always one of the great ones.
My first presentation was awful. I changed it like the video that Jake was sharing with you guys earlier. Go watch that video. I talk about that presentation, but I changed my major in college because I was scared of public speaking. I had to do a 1-minute speech in front of 8 people. I literally said, nope, and I changed my major so I did not have to do a speech class. And that's actually why I went into medical rehab. So I decided to do a medical degree instead of a marketing degree, which I thought was going to be easier because I didn't have to do public speaking. But anyways, that's how terrified I was of public speaking. David made me do my first presentation. It was literally the worst presentation I've ever done my entire life. He said he was not going to do the back half if I didn't do the front half. There was already like 20 people there. So I got up there. I did the entire front half literally in less than 3 minutes. All I did was read the slides. I literally got every word mixed up. Dude, it was horrible. My mom was there, and she was so embarrassed for me. Like, she was there, and I could tell she just kind of had her head down. It was so bad. It was so embarrassing. But like Casey said, I went home and I stood in front of the mirror and I went over that presentation over and over and over and over again because I swore I was never going to be that bad again. So my tips though for putting on a good presentation is me personally, because I still get nervous. I'm a complete introvert, like completely introvert. I'm like not an extrovert at all. Maybe if we're like really close and good friends, I can get a little wild and loud, but I'm a very introverted person. Something that I do, because I do every time, it doesn't matter. And like Casey said too, literally in front of 6 people, a PBR makes me more nervous than whenever I spoke in front of 13,000 people. Like, and that's no joke. Because when you're in front of that many people, it's one of those, for me, it was just like, dude, I'm already here. Like, I don't care. If I screw up, I'm done. I'm moving to a different country. You know what I mean? Like, it's at that point, right? But something that I do to get my mind right, to get focused, because obviously you have to be prepared. I mean, you got to know what you're talking over. If you're prepared, it's a lot easier. When you don't know what the heck you're talking about and you're talking in front of people and you don't even like talking in front of people and you don't know what you're talking about, that's when it gets really bad, because whenever you say one wrong thing, it's going over in your head the whole time you're trying to do this presentation. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I said that. And then you forget what you're saying. And guys, understand too, is I have put on the worst presentations. I've literally done I told my story twice before, because when you do so many presentations in a day and you share your story so many times, sometimes you forget what you previously said. And I've literally told my entire story twice before. And I had literally somebody on a Zoom say, hey, Miles, you already said all of that like 10 minutes ago. But you just gotta have fun with it, you know. And my rituals, because I do have a ritual before every presentation, I count down from 100 to 0. I know it sounds really weird, but I count down from 100 to 0, 100, 99, 98, 97, 96, 95, 94, 93, 92, 91, 98, 98, 87, 86, 85, just to like focus on getting my mind right. I don't know, for some reason it helps me focus. And another thing that I do is I pray, you know, and I ask God to help me deliver the good presentations that everybody gets what they need out of it. And high energy, high enthusiasm. You know, high energy, you might scare 1 out of 10 people away. Bad energy, you're going to scare, 9 out of 10 away. You know, so energy is 80%, 20% skill in this business. David Nieves talks about it all the time. So good doing a presentation, my advice, get out there, do it. Every single person, I don't care how scared you are, go present something to get out of your comfort zone and start doing that, because when you start doing the presentation, that's when your business will go to the next level. And that's something I can tell you for so many reasons too, not because you're doing the presentation, but because you're getting on your comfort zone, you're building confidence behind what you're doing. When you have that confidence, that's when your business is going to change. So whenever I did my first presentation, it was the worst presentation of my entire life, and literally one of the most embarrassing moments of my entire life. But that was the day that I went green diamond. That was the day that I knew that the sky was the limit. And that's whenever I took it up a notch and went green diamond. So that was a good question. That was a really good question.
Love it. Good stuff. All right, we got time for one more, and then we're going to wrap it up for the night.
I've got nothing else, but thank you, Casey.
Thank you, Colton. Appreciate it. Any final questions from anybody? All right. Show of hands. Who is going to ILA? Excellent. Excellent. Everybody's got their video on, got their hand up, I think with the exception of one. That is fantastic. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, everybody. I am going to unmute the line so y'all can say goodnight to Mr. Stallard. Oh, wait, one more. Cool. I'm going to unmute the line so you can say goodnight to Mr. Stallard, and then we are going to see you guys on Monday.
Good night, Casey.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good night.
Y'all have fun.
Thank you.
See y'all later.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.